Hi, my name is Morgan, and I'll be your occupational therapist today. So glad to have you here on Telehealth. So you've been referred to OT for your recent diagnosis of coronary artery disease. So I wanted to start this session off by just explaining what that is and what that means. So coronary artery disease is a heart disease, and it's where the major blood vessels of your heart, called your coronary arteries, are struggling to send blood, oxygen, and nutrients to your heart. So that happens as a result of the narrowing of your blood vessels. So that happens because plaque and fatty deposits are building up inside. So if this is your blood vessel, over time with this disease, plaque and fatty deposits start building up inside and it narrows like that. So as you can see, as this disease progresses, less and less blood can move through those blood vessels since the area is just so much smaller. So, the disease process for coronary artery disease actually develops over many years, sometimes even over decades, without possibly going noticed at all. So you are diagnosed when your symptoms start to appear. So when that happens, you might experience heart pain, irregular heart rate. You might experience, if it's untreated, you might experience heart failure or heart attack or even death if untreated. So it does impact your functioning in so many ways. So your heart is pumping blood to your lungs and to the rest of your muscles. So if there is not enough oxygen, blood, and nutrients going to your heart, that means there's not enough oxygenated blood going to your lungs or to the rest of your body, or there's not blood going to your lungs and not oxygenated blood going to the rest of your body. So that means you are not breathing as effectively, so you might get fatigued very easily, you might have shortness of breath, and it also means that your muscles aren't working as effectively, so that also decreases your activity tolerance. So activity tolerance is just the amount of time you can participate in an activity without having to stop. So it affects coronary artery disease affects your breathing and your motor functioning, your muscles. So that means it affects you throughout your entire day, possibly. So that can be from your activities of daily living, which is like self-care and eating, and it also affects your mobility, so walking around and moving things. And so you can have shortness of breath and then just overall fatigue throughout different activities throughout the day. And it also affects your mental health a lot because since you're so fatigued and less maybe less motivated to participate in community activities that you used to due to that fatigue or maybe difficulty, your mental health might be impaired or affected as well with this disease. So today we are going to focus on the performance skills that are motor skills. So we are really going to focus on activity tolerance and endurance. And then with that, we're working on motor skills. So as you're moving around, you get more tired, of course. That is where those two things are connected. So today we are going to be improving your ability to complete or endure activities for a longer amount of time. So, as you discussed in the eval, you love cooking and you really miss being able to make your own food and cook for yourself because you just get tired nowadays. It's just more difficult because of your coronary artery disease. So today we are just going to go through some cooking tasks as well as some techniques you can use throughout this intervention, but also just in your everyday life to improve that activity tolerance and help with those motor skills, those motor performance skills. So first is pursed lip breathing. So that is a breathing technique in which you are going to breathe in through your nose like you're smelling the flowers and out through your mouth like you're blowing out a candle. And you want to exhale for 2 times, so double the amount of time that you inhale. So if you're feeling out of breath or fatigued throughout this intervention or throughout any activity, you should use pursed lip breathing to regain control and to get the proper amount of oxygen back in your lungs. And then the second thing we're going to use today is the Borg scale of perceived exertion. So in the document I sent with this video, there's also a little graphic of the Borg scale. So if you could pull that up, that would be awesome. We're just going to talk about it for a second. So in the green area, that means light work, no problem, you're good. The yellow area means it's getting a little more difficult, but it's still not necessarily hard. The orange is where you are gasping for air, you're harder to breathe, and you might only be able to respond in 1 to 2 words. And then the red is the highest level, so that is the hardest amount of work, and that is when you're gasping for air and you can't really talk. So we are aiming for yellow or green today, but if you reach the orange, or especially the red, but if you reach the orange, we are gonna stop activity because we're not putting ourselves in any risk for further heart events. So we are going to stay where your breathing is normal. And again, if you struggle, then we're going to do some pursed lip breathing, and we're going to stop activity if you get to the orange of the Borg. So just go ahead and keep that handy really at all times of the day. It can be really helpful. So yeah, we're just going to go over now the supplies we need for this cooking task. So we are going to be making a delicious healthy wrap today. So you will need a plate and a tortilla and some deli meat and some spinach and a knife, and last but not least, some cheese. So we're gonna start off by putting the spinach on the cutting board, and then we're just gonna go ahead and chop it up. Just be careful, of course. As always with a knife, you have to always be careful. So next we're gonna put our tortilla on the plate like this. And then we're gonna go ahead and put our spinach on. And then we can lay our deli meat on top. And then we can sprinkle some cheese on top of that. And then we can roll it right up. And there you go. So now I just want to talk about exactly how this is promoting occupation. So low resistive exercises like cutting the spinach or gathering the supplies is going to improve your strength and endurance without excessive fatigue. So that is just saying that these exercises are building your strength so that you can endure activities for longer. And then we also used the Borg scale and pursed lip breathing, which are 2 techniques to help also improve activity tolerance without fatigue. With these techniques, there's an improved ability to complete ADLs and other activities. And then also with this specific meal, it's pretty healthy. So that also just promotes healthy heart. So that will benefit you in many ways of your occupation, ADLs, leisure, so many ways. So 2 things we can do with this activity. We can grade it up. If this is too easy, we need to make it a little harder. So you could cook it. So this wrap would be delicious, just a little crisp. So you can stand up, walk over, put it on the stove or in the air fryer, whatever you like. So that would be a little more difficult. And then you can also make multiple. So if you would like to meal prep, this would be a more challenging activity if you had more spinach to cut, more tortillas to roll, things like that. So if you made multiple, this activity would be a little more difficult. And then you could also meal prep for the week. And then to grade down, if this activity is a little bit too difficult, you could use an assistive cutting device. So that's where you just put the spinach in the little device and then you press down and it cuts it all. So that would really take away the exercise kind of that was there in that part. And also, if you get pre-prepared veggies from the store, that would also really make this task a little easier and less fatiguing. So I'm so glad that you are here and that we got to do this together asynchronously. But I hope that these techniques can be carried over just to improve your overall activity tolerance and occupational functioning. Bye.